So let me shift gears then and go back to the legislation here. So, um, where do you guys know? Can you speak to where it is in the legislative process and give us your take on it? What are things people should know about this piece of legislation?
So the legislation, now that it has the public support of the governor, I think is likely to pass. Um, and since that support came out, a number of amendments were made. Back when this was first made public, um, Rideshare Drivers United took a look at it, and we saw a lot of problems with the bill, where we really wanted to make it stronger. Because the fact is that if you are not a full employee, if you don't have full labor rights, and you try to negotiate a contract, you're starting from absolute zero. You have no legal floor, right, from which to negotiate, in terms of your wages or in terms of any other kinds of protections. And so SEIU, for the last 7 years or so, has been working to kind of build some union-like structures, I'll call them. They run something through two locals in California, SEIU 721 and 1021, called the California Gig Workers Union. It used to be under the name We Drive Progress and Mobile Workers Alliance. But these kinds of organizing projects have really been staff driven, right? They have been kind of efforts by SEIU to gain a foothold in driver communities, and have not been really, as Rideshare Drivers United has been, driven by the organizing on the ground from drivers themselves. RDU formed back in 2017, 2018, by drivers at the LAX lot. We were a major force in organizing the large strikes right before Uber's IPO in May 2019, and we were a major force in pushing for AB5 and against Proposition 22. SEIU has been there along the way and done a lot of the work, and sort of filing lawsuits and such, against Proposition 22. But one of our concerns is that they have not really organized deeply within the driver community, and the law as it's written now actually puts SEIU as the de facto union for drivers, because what it says is that they would have had to have negotiated CBAs in the past, collective bargaining agreements in the past, which Rideshare Drivers United has not done, because we are a union of drivers who do not have collective bargaining rights. So, any new kind of organization that is organic to this class of workers, is not going to qualify. And it says that they also have had to have been organizing drivers for the last 5 years, which they will claim that they've been doing through California Gig Workers Union. Now, Alvaro and I both know that when we come out to rallies, or when we go to Sacramento to pressure legislators, it's our green shirts, it's our green RDU shirts that you see above and beyond actual drivers from these other groups. And so we're really concerned that what we're moving towards is an undemocratic model for unionism for rideshare drivers, but I would argue also for the broader American workforce.
Interesting. And Alvaro, where's kind of membership at when you talk to other drivers on this issue? Is this something that's front and center in the minds of a lot of the other drivers you speak to in terms of this legislation and collective bargaining rights?
So I talk to a lot of drivers, all the time, but drivers usually, because all this labor movement, SEIU, Gavin Newsom, all these negotiations, they're happening behind doors, and then drivers, they're not really familiar with all the process, because when you talk to drivers about SB 1340, about this bill, about Prop 22, drivers voted for Prop 22 without knowing what exactly do or didn't do for them. So like I said, drivers, they, they're just waiting for whatever happens, and sometimes this is why when it comes to rideshare, this is why it's so hard to organize, because you're dealing with drivers who are always busy. Because somebody who's driving 100 hours a week, do you think that person is gonna have time to go for an action or to do something? Go to Sacramento. Miss 1 or 2 days a week. That driver is not gonna miss not even one day, because he's not gonna have enough, to pay their rent or pay their bills. So it's kind of like unique, to organize drivers, because they're always busy and they always tell you, no, I don't have time to go anywhere. So whatever they decide to do for me, that's fine, and this is when the problem comes, that we're always trying, to kind of like educate drivers on this type of topics, because pretty much I've been organizing since I started doing rideshare like 11 years ago. And then with RDU, I've been with Rideshare Drivers United, I would say, for the past 5 or 6 years. I've been organizing with them. I feel that we've been working so hard. Our work has been so hard because we're trying to do it the right way. And on the other hand, SEIU, they took a shortcut. They they say, okay, we're gonna negotiate with Lyft and Uber, and we're gonna become the only rideshare driver union in California. And look, we're the winner, something that RDU wasn't able to do it.